is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome to the discussion for Set a Watch, which is actually a game by Rock Manor Games, and I just did a review over their newest one, Lawyer Up. So here I am covering another one of their games, and Set a Watch is interesting because it has a very interesting premise, a very interesting theme of the fact that you have a group of adventurers that each have their own unique abilities, and I mean, not really unique dice. I mean, it's either you use a D8 or a D6, but they have 5 adventure cards or five ability cards, and they'll only ever have 3 out, and that's kind of their health. But each round you send one of them off to kind of basically prep for the following night, and then the other 3 are left to fight. So the concept of this game and actually how it flows is pretty intriguing, because usually these kinds of games have, everyone's working together, everyone's fighting all the time. You have a campfire phase prior, to that, like where you do stuff and then everyone fights. But this game, I actually kind of like the fact that you have to send someone to camp. Hey, you go scout ahead. You go look at our locations while we stand watch, while we fight off the hordes of enemies that are coming our way. And the way that the enemies have come at you will it's gonna trigger, and it's gonna be difficult based off how the enemies come out. The line formation of the monsters reminds me of Space Hulk Death Angel, kind of that you can only attack, but instead of the monsters, it's you in a line, and that's how you kind of maneuver. Here, you don't move around, you don't do anything, you don't have pieces, you just have dice that represent you, and you kill them as they come barreling down. So I really like the concept of this game, how it's just swarms of enemies. It's kind of a tower defense a little bit. It's coming. I mean, you just have a deck of creatures that you set up. You don't know who they're going to be, and you set the difficulty based off with summon cards that basically bring in stronger, powerful monsters that will come in and have horrible reveal effects, and they'll show up later. But that's kind of where my positives of this game end. Once again, you do the same thing round after round after round, and just trying to hope that you roll well. And this game, unfortunately, does a lot of things that I don't like about difficult games. Not even really solo games. I mean, everyone said to play this game solo. You can play with up to 4. I don't really see why people are like, you have to play this solo. You just control 4 people. I guess you can just manage the die results a little bit better in the cooperation of kind of the die usage. Because I mean, yeah, if you have 3 other people, so if you have 4 people total, you don't have enough of your character to actually do anything to contribute to any type of discussion, because it's just there's a couple monsters revealed. And it's like, all right, well, we can combine this 4 and this 3 to kill that thing that has 7 health. That's pretty much it. Oh, I have this ability. So yeah, I guess it is better solo because there's not a whole lot of depth to the game. But unfortunately, there's, in my opinion, too much randomness. How well you do in this game is completely based on luck. You have luck of the location you go to. I will say they do have ways to mitigate with the 3 things I'm about to say, but it is at a cost. So let's say you don't do any of the ways to mitigate it, but where you're drawing, where you're going, is going to be luck. The negative abilities of those locations that might just completely screw you over, that's completely lucky. The creature deck is completely lucky. How the monsters are coming out, where it's like, oh, okay, hey, every time a first revealed effect happens, this happens, and then, oh, wow, the first card has a first in line effect, so now we're getting double screwed over just by pure happenstance. And then kind of how you do everything is based off of die rolling. So it's just like, oh, okay, well, I'd really like to heal. Fuck, nope, no one rolled a 6 to just go out and heal. And, I mean, hell, even your setup is random. Your 3 abilities, you don't pick those. I guess you could, but you're supposed to just randomly shuffle the 5, pick 3, and then out of those 3, randomly decide which one is exhausted. So everything about this game is kind of random. Now, I will say, it could just have been left at that, and then this game would be utter garbage. But they do have ways to mitigate it. While it's still not super easy and it still requires luck, it is there, but it is kind of annoying. So let me go over. So the looking at the map location, like the next one where it's going to tell you how many creatures are out, how your wood is affected. Which I will say, I love the fire, the campfire mechanic of how many monsters are revealed. Like you're out in the darkness, it's always nighttime, and who you can see is based off how bright your fire is. I think that's an awesome mechanic, and there's other ways, like the wizard can illuminate it by spending more firewood to reveal more out. The elf senses can reveal, oh hey, we can reveal 3 monsters, while the elf senses, she can actually see a 4th one. I think that is awesome. That's a cool mechanism. But if for the check the map, there is a spot you can go to check the map. So it's a 4 or higher, so you have a 50-50 chance someone you're sending can potentially do it if someone rolls a 4. Which means you draw the top card of that deck, and you draw the top card of the unused deck, and you pick which one you're going to. Okay, well, if the one you're going to is like, wow, that would have been really shitty, okay, here's one that's less shitty. Or if you're lucky, it's a reprieve location, and it's like, well, thank God, okay, there's a house we can go rest in. So there is that. The wizard has a specific ability when he goes in camps and uses one of his dice that he gets to draw 3. It's teleport. He can draw 3 cards and pick out of those, and out of the 3 he gets to replace the top one. So a main ability of a character are ways to mitigate that. I will say the abilities of most of the characters are just any die. Like, oh, whatever, the wizard rolled all 1s, okay, well, he's going to camp and he can use that. But if you don't want to send the wizard because you really want his abilities, then you have to hope that someone rolls a 4. Then comes across to the creature deck, which is, okay, that's coming out and that's in the line. And then, well, what the fuck can we do? There's nothing we can do about that. Well, you can scout ahead, which you can do 3 times. You can technically spend all 3 of your dice to scout ahead, but they have to be in exponentially greater numbers, so it has to go like the die that you place next has to be higher than the one you placed prior to that. But that lets you look at the top 2 cards and put them either or on top or on bottom, so that gives you some information. The Elven Scout lets you look at the top 4 and rearrange it, but they all go back on top. So once again, character ability, main ability is just a way better. Like, it seems like everyone's effects are kind of better than what is made like on the board, which I will say I do like. I do like that. Hey, we all, and you know, I mean, I'm kind of eating my words here, but I mean, you do roll your dice before you decide who is going to camp, so that lets you look at it and be like, okay, what did we get? Here's the most optimal one to send to camp. I know we really need the abilities, so you do have to kind of weigh those options of, we really want their abilities, but they rolled the perfect dice for us to put them at camp, so can we actually utilize the remaining 3 characters? Very cool, interesting dilemma. But then, yeah, so then you have, that's the Scout Ahead, Elf Ranger has that. Then you have the Cleric with healing, which is the only way you can heal, which is flipping a card over, or someone who is on watch, is you have to roll a 6. He can do it with a 4. Is a 4 or better, so he has a 50-50 chance, and if you get really lucky and you roll a 6 with him and a 4, then he can double heal, which is huge. And then the Rogue, there's the Equip that lets you kind of swap out, hey, these abilities aren't really working right now, let's just swap out one for another. The Rogue lets herself equip, and another person on watch equip, if you're like, oh, okay, well, now let's try and use these abilities together. And then the Chop Firewood is just a free, place a die there, you increase it by 2, but the Warrior is, you increase it by 4. So he has something that lets you do that. So I mean, it is kind of interesting, the fact that the way that you mitigate it is not in such, hey, I have an ability that lets me do this. It is, we are going to have to give up someone to do a better mitigation, because everyone here rolled like shit. But that still kind of brings me to my third point with, okay, everyone rolled poorly, so direct damage is not happening. Like, it is possible that everyone rolls ones or twos or any combination, like 1, 2, and 3, which would be the worst combination chance. I mean, that is improbable, but it definitely can happen. They do once again have ways to mitigate that with the runes, and the 3 runes are Seal, that lets you, take an unhallowed out of the graveyard, put it back in the deck. You can Vanquish, which just lowers your horde. And then the big one to kind of mitigate if everyone rolls bad is Bolster, which allows every adventurer on watch to reroll any number of their dice. So if it's like a 6, 1, and 1, then, let's send that person to camp because they can use the 2 1s to do these rune abilities and then the 6 to heal or something. But, hey, I really rolled bad and I kind of need my warrior to do a lot of damage. Okay, well, I'm just going to re-roll all of them and hope that's better, which is 6, 6, and a 3 or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, the mitigation is kind of, it's kind of crucial. Like, you have to kind of weigh out the balance of, well, I really want these abilities, and I mean, the ranger has D8, so the chances of her rolling at least good, 5 or higher is decent, but she's kind of beat up, so let's send her to camp so she heals 1 and see what she rolls. Oh, she rolled 2 5s and a 2. Okay, we'll have her use the rune to let everyone else kind of re-roll, which is I mean, it's interesting. Now, my other complaint of the game, which I guess like that necessarily, it's not a complaint for the randomness, because the mitigation kind of does balance it out, and it is pretty thematic, and they do have it to where you get to at least see everyone's die rolls before you send someone there. But the other one is, this game is kind of long. Like, it says 60 minutes, and that's about right. This is an hour-long game, and I mean, I don't know if there was enough here to warrant that game, because really, you're kind of doing the same thing over and over. You're really just flipping a card over, seeing how many monsters are in the line, and then just adding numbers together to clear out the line. I mean, yeah, you have special abilities, like, I'm going to use Long Shot and just reveal. I'm just going to kill this monster. I'm going to use Poison Blade, which adds, I'm going to reveal a bunch of cards, and now we add 4 to our numbers. Like, you're really just kind of doing math for an hour. I mean, yeah, you are trying to survive and keep your fire up, and then deal with the special abilities, some of the monsters that are coming out, and how many there are. But kind of for what you end up doing in this game, it's a little too long in my opinion. And even like the finale where because you're going through 9 locations, even the finale where it's just kind of, all right, well, you pull the horde out, and now that's the deck that it's getting pulled from. It's just, I thought that the horde was going to be kind of like you had to survive through it. Like, hey, here are the 10 cards, and then you also have to deal with the horde. I thought that's kind of what it was going to be, but there's no way you'd ever have the dice to be able to do that. And so even after an hour, it's just kind of lackluster, because they even mentioned, hey, you win if you have at least one ability card still flip face up by the end of damage. So you could even math out the ending and be like, okay, well, we used all of our dice, and all right, well, we're all fully healed anyway, so we can take 11 points of damage, because everyone comes out for the fight. There's no camp phase there. If this game was 30, I mean, hell, even 30 minutes, 40 minutes at max, it's just, even then, I just don't. I mean, the premise of the game is interesting. Like, the hell, I'll even resort back to the mitigation of all the randomness of the game is interesting. Your abilities, I mean, yeah, each character does have unique abilities. No one feels quite the same. But what you're really doing is, like, the dice. I mean, most characters, like, it's either a d6 or a d8. You roll, and you're just like, okay, well, just going to put that on that ability, and that does that. That puts that in the graveyard. Oh, going to put this and just defeat this card. All right, going to defeat that has 8 or less health. Okay, just going to defeat that. And slowly just kind of do the same thing. I never once really felt like equipping was necessary. The 3 cards that kind of came out were pretty good. There was one time throughout the run through that I was like, oh, okay, I probably should equip because I can't use passive abilities, so let me put in abilities that I can use. And here's another thing that, now this is random, that you can't really do anything about. Because you randomly take 30 cards of creatures from the deck. And that's your creature deck that you cycle through. It is perfectly possible that you have a character that you've picked that is going to be completely useless, like the Beast Tamer, or the Beastmaster. If there are no forest creatures that are coming out or at all in the deck, he can do nothing. Like, his abilities are all based around taming forest creatures and having extra dice. He rolls, I mean, which is great. He rolls d8, so he can hit hard and he's ranged. So he has that. But if there's no, I mean, the only creatures in this deck were the bear and the eagle. And it's like that only gives, and he can only control those two. So he has he has an extra die of a 4 or a 3 or a 7. Oh, I think the wolf also actually is another forest creature. But ooh, I think the wolf is a 5. I'm trying to find it real quick. Yeah. So three creatures, and I mean, yeah, I mean, it gets rid of one, and now he has it for a die of 5. It's not like he's taking anything that's major. It's not like he's doing like an undead that's like, oh, that zombie horde, yep, just banished. It was 90 health. Now it's just gone. He can effectively have on his next turn. He essentially has 5 dice, but if no forest creatures are coming out, he's useless. The cleric, if no undead are coming out, he's kind of useless. So. And that's not fun whenever your game completely, totally relies on synergy between 3 characters. And everyone has to go to the camp at least twice. You have these markers. So you want to try and balance who's going where, and hopefully that you do it at the right time. And yeah, you just kind of do math the whole game. Cool theme. You know, pretty good mitigation upon discussion of talking about it. The fact that they use the box as the map, I actually really like. I think that definitely saves up on table space. You put the cards in here, the horde goes in there, the deck. But even then, it doesn't really save on table space because you have to have a line of monsters to fight. So that's just kind of, I don't know why they didn't just have a cardboard sheet that you just lay out. But it is what it is. It's not bad. It's kind of nice. The art is really good. I think the art is actually awesome for the locations, for the creatures, so that's nice. But I don't know. It doesn't really warrant playing with more people because there's not going to be a whole lot of cool combinations. You can very much just control it yourself. I will say if you're a solo gamer, then it's not overwhelming. You always play with 4, so maybe that was their intention, was they kind of wanted it to be a solo game only, and so they didn't put a whole lot of depth into the different characters. But it's fine, I guess, playing a couple times, but I really don't see much going into the game of in terms of variety. Yeah, you have a completely different creature deck, but it's not like there's like a stack of ones that are still just out of the game, so you're going to see the creatures the same. The unhallowed, I mean, they might come out. I mean, they will come out eventually, without a doubt. But, I mean, you have the knight, you have the warrior, and you have the bard. Warrior just increases the firewood by 4. He uses a d8. You have the knight. Assist gives this die. Give this die at its current value to a player on watch. This die cannot be used to activate abilities. And then the bard, swap one of your abilities with one from an adventurer not in the game. If you swap out an exhausted power, the new one comes in exhausted. So, I mean, he can just take other characters' abilities. And then the Beast Tamer, set trap at the start of the watch phase. Assign this die as direct damage to the creature in first position. Prevent all first position powers from activating until an adventurer on watch takes an action. So, I mean, he can basically set a trap and you can use a lower die to potentially just kill something that pops up. I mean, yeah, I mean, pretty standard D&D classes. These are all, I mean, Beastmaster is not, I mean, it's a subclass that you can be, but kind of everything else are characters that you can, so it's not like you don't have really any super unique adventures you can do. It's all right. So, I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, I think I'm gonna sit firmly at a 5. It has some cool premises around it, but I'm just not too enthused by it, and have no intention of wanting to play it again, especially solo, because I'm not a solo gamer anyway. So this isn't one that I'm like, oh hell yeah, like let's break out this game. Nah, it's all right. It's a cool idea. Maybe with some expansions to add more to it, it could be interesting. But other than that, you're really just kind of doing math for an hour. But that's it. That's my thoughts on Set a Watch. Let me know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.